see, we're in the aft bunk. I'm lying flat on my back on this nice hard surface. When I arrived, I hadn't even unlocked the boat yet, and pulling stuff out of the car, I tweaked my back a little bit, so I'm trying to rest on a flat surface, and hopefully it'll feel better, because I have things I want to do, and I'm in the place I want to do them, and I don't want a little back pain to get in my way. So the light above you is the cabin light over the galley. That is with a incandescent bulb. I'm going to test an LED light here and see if it's bright enough or if it's brighter, too bright. But they should draw less electricity, or they will draw less electricity, so I hope to use them throughout the boat. So for reference, the brightness without the cover, incandescent. I'm going to pull out one of my new LED bulbs. I can get the bag open. There we go. Ooh, hot. That's not a good sign. Supposed to be 12-volt bulbs. 12-volt LEDs. Let's try another one. That one works. It's a different color. Oh. Gonna put the cover back on. I'm gonna try it out for a while and see how we like it. It's a nice color. A little easier on the eyes, or maybe that's because it's just not as bright. It's really going to be hard to tell though until it's actually dark, if it's going to be adequate. But I do want to make the shift to LEDs to save battery power when we're out anchored or out at night or something. The less power we use, the longer we can stay there without running the motor. So I'm going to change these out, at least the ones, if I have enough working. If I have enough working bulbs, 50% so far. But we're going to change them all out, and then we'll see how that goes. I'll keep the incandescent bulbs in case we want to switch back. So this is an inflatable PFD, or personal flotation device. Every now and then, based on a schedule that's determined by the manufacturer, you need to replace the, this is the little button in there that when it gets wet, it releases a spring which jams a pin into the end of that cartridge to inflate the jacket. And this is a manual pull if this doesn't work, or if you want to inflate it for some reason beforehand. So I have 3 of these on board, and tested them out by inflating them with the oral inflator, which is in there on this side. And then you let them sit for a few days and see if they hold air. And if they do, then you spend the money on the recharge kit, which is the button and the cylinder. And if it doesn't hold air, you take a knife and you slice it up and you throw it in the dumpster and buy a whole new one. This one is 25 years old and it still works great. I have newer one as well, but just want to show you the old standbys. And they're very handy because, when they're not bulky life jackets, people tend to wear them more. Although these are not approved for offshore use on their own, you need to have other life jackets on the boat. These are the ones that people wear because they're light and easy to wear. The whole thing is, I don't know, around a pound maybe. But and they have integrated harness, safety harness in there. There's the thing I'm looking for. So you're buckled in, and you have this to hook to your to various attach points on your boat to keep you from falling over the side in rough weather, etc. So the fact that it's an all-in-one unit makes these things very popular. I recommend them for the fact that a lot of people quote, which is true. People will wear these. They do not like to wear the big bulky jackets. So even though they're, I mean, this particular model is probably around 125 bucks if you buy it new. I have another one, not with me, not on the boat right now, an offshore one. That one costs more like $500, but different features, different use. But for near shore use, these are great. I'd recommend them to anybody. To go along with the PDF and harness I just showed you, this is a tether. So this snap shackle here would attach to that ring I showed you on the harness of the PDF, and then it goes along, and then there are attach points on this. On this model there are two. A lot of them only have one, but these are big, and they have a nice big jaw so that you can put them onto various types of attach points, whether they be, you know, jack lines or hard points. The snap shackle has a pull strap on it so that you can quickly detach the tether from the harness if you need to. But in general, it's made to stay on. And these are designed in such a way where you can't just pull them open. You have to trigger it with your hand. It's a little tricky motion, but once you get used to it, it's easy. So that you can't do it accidentally. If something bumping into this side over here won't just open it. You have to have that depressed, which you can do with the heel of your hand. But that between this, the PDF, and the harness, it gives you a nice, secure attachment to the boat. I've showed you the new rubber boat, and I've talked about the old rubber boat. But one thing I didn't mention is that the old rubber boat doesn't hold air all that well. I can't find any leak in it, so I bought these replacement valves. There's 4 on the boat. I'm going to put these valves in and blow it up and see if it holds air better. I can leave it right on the deck where it is and tie it down, and then over time we'll see if it leaks out. The way it was before is I'd blow it up, it'd be fine for a day or two, start to get soft on the 3rd day, and if I leave it for 4 or 5 days, I have to, you know, blow it up quite a bit. So we'll see if this makes a difference. I hope so. Well, the valves are in and the boat inflates. These old valves will become spares, as I'm not sure they're bad or which ones are bad. Now I'm going to just put it back to where it was, and we'll see next week if it's still inflating. 10 minutes later, still looks good. So this is the battery bank, pretty much the way we found it when we got the boat. So here's battery 1, this is battery 2. They're wired up as 2 different banks. So battery 1, the battery is shot. It holds a charge for, you know, number of hours basically after it's charged. And then usually when I come in on a Saturday after it's been sitting here a week, even though I charged the week before, it's sitting at like 10 or 9 volts. So I know this one is shot. This one holds a charge. It seems to be okay, but it's a smaller battery. It's the way the batteries are in their cases are not proper, because this one, for example, they filled the extra space with rags to kind of hold them in place. That's not really a good idea. I don't think it's legal. The connections are not well done. A lot of them are sort of out of order. It should go from the big thing on the bottom and the smaller things on top, instead of being done just the opposite. So the plan here is to replace both of the batteries and to get them properly tied down. Now there are tie downs here, and the tie downs are properly secured down to the bottom. But there are no tops to the boxes. Battery boxes should be covered on top, and they should be properly secured down. So even if the boat were to flip upside down, they shouldn't move more than a tiny bit. So this is part of the electrical project, which we're still planning. So we know what's going to happen here, basically, but until we plan what kind of batteries we're going to get, what capacity, etc., and what else we're changing with the wiring, we're not going to do this right now. As I said, battery 2 is usable, but this has to be straightened out before we launch, because battery power is essential for being able to run the boat and being able to start the engine when you need it. So the main purpose of these videos is to give you a taste of boat ownership. Part of that taste is the cost of boat ownership, not necessarily a good taste all the time. So I plan next week to go through my annual budget with you about how I spend money while boating. There are certain fixed costs annually, like winter storage for the boat, covering the boat. There is summer costs, like where do you keep your boat in the summer while you're using it, what kind of activities do you do, and what do they cost. Then there's incidentals, like, you know, when I'm boating, I often go to restaurants when I get to some of my favorite spots. And that's discretionary. It'll be different for everyone. But we need a starting point. So I look forward to that next week. I hope you do too.